The Sons of Fenris are coming. Well, that's what I'm saying. Anyway, this video is going to be dedicated to a little bit of rumours, a little bit of theory, more or less going deep down into that wet, dank hole that we normally do when we do videos like this. But especially, I want to focus it on the Space Wolves and potentially what they could be getting with their range refresh. Also, since we've just got a big announcement around Nova, I want to talk a little bit about that, but I'm more or less going to do my big Nova video sometime tomorrow or maybe early Wednesday. So let's jump in and let's get waffling. Now, as I just mentioned, since this video is going to contain some rumors, remember, rumors are rumors. They're all lies until Games Workshop come out and say it themselves over on their social media platforms. So please take rumors for what they are. Rumors are not facts. So let's start with the big rumor, which I've been talking about for a long time now. I've mostly been talking about on my streams to people when they've been asking me about Space Wolves and stuff like that. And this goes all the way back to 9th edition, a long time ago when, you know, maybe the game was a bit more fun. I'm not too sure. Right? I'll let you guys decide in the comment section what was better, 9th edition or 10th edition. But coming towards the end of 9th edition, I was hearing a rumor that in 10th edition, we were going to get a range refresh for a lot of Space Marine chapters. We were going to get a range refresh for the Dark Angels, the Blood Angels, and the Space Wolves. And at the time, I was like, all right, yeah, okay, that's not going to happen. That is completely a BS rumor. I know Games Workshop loves doing Marines and giving them new stuff, but to have the 3 big chapters all getting a refresh in one edition, that is like unheard of before. But so far, we have had 2 of the 3 of those chapters get a type of refresh. With the Dark Angels, we've got a new Belial, we got the new Deathwing Terminators, we got a new Asmodai, an upgrade kit. You can argue basically the Lion was a part of that upgrade because that was towards the end of 9th going on to 10th. The Blood Angels, we've just got Lamartis, we've just got Astroath, we've just got the Sanguinor and the Sanguine Regard. I know there's different opinions about all that, but we have just got basically a Blood Angel refresh. I'm sure people want more like Ravenwing and all that kind of stuff, but I do predict that stuff will be coming more and more in the future. Probably not this edition, but maybe next edition. But the thing I'm trying to talk about and to get the end of here is that 2 of the 3 predictions of that rumor have come true, and this is coming from a source, by the way, which I've started to believe more and more, and they have give more and more whispers that have actually turned out true. So I do think the Space Wolves this edition are going to get a refresh. How big that refresh is, that is where the question is, that is where the debate is at this moment. What characters are going to get refreshed? Is there going to be another Loyalist Primarch coming back? That's a big discussion as well. I know right now, and again, just because I believe this doesn't mean that you should believe this, that Fulgrim is going to be the next Primarch returning to Warhammer 40,000. That is Demonic Fulgrim, and that is going to bring the Emperor's Children Codex with a bunch of new models for them and another Primarch back to the setting. What normally happens is that when we get a Demonic Primarch returning, then we normally get a Loyalist Primarch returning as well. And if the Space Wolves are on track to get that refresh, then I do predict that Leman Russ would be the next Primarch to return for the Space Wolves. Now, if Leman Russ was to return this edition in 10th edition, I don't think it's going to be sometime next year. I think it's going to be probably the year after, somewhere around 2026, towards the ending of 10th edition, much like what they did with Lionel Johnson, where it bridges the connection then between one edition to the next edition. We got the Arcs of Omen. I don't know what this would be called for the 11th edition stuff, but I have been hearing rumors around 11th edition that it is going to involve orcs, and the Space Wolves may be one of the key contenders in fighting the orcs. So a refresh for the Space Wolves, Leman Russ returning, and then going forward into the 11th edition to face this massive war. It's probably going to be led by Gazskull, right? Because with the Imperium being split in half, the orcs have taken massive advantage of this, and they've been routing world after world, raiding world after world, conquering world after world, building up their forces, getting more wars going, getting more Daka being made for their eventual, well, conquest of the galaxy as they see it. So I definitely do think the rumors around 11th edition are going to come true, and probably that 11th edition box set is going to be Space Marines versus Orcs, and maybe it would be themed. I'm just saying, right? This is my personal opinion. I'm not saying rumor. When I say themed, I mean narrative-wise themed around the Space Wolves being the main contenders. It's probably going to be painted as Ultramarines because it's always painted as Ultramarines, but narrative-wise, I see it around the Space Wolves being the main contenders fighting the Orcs. Now, if we did get that 10th edition refresh for the Space Wolves, the big question, of course, which we've been talking about, is what models? What models could be refreshed? If you look at the Dark Angels and you look at the Blood Angels so far, you know, a little bit of their range was refreshed. It wasn't a full range refresh. I keep telling people this, that Games Workshop's business practice now is to do a little of each faction. That way they can come back and do like a phase 2 or even a phase 3. This is why I'm hearing that Eldar are going to get a massive new model release during this edition as well. They didn't do it all during that first phase. They wanted to split it into 2 halves, so people buy the first half, then come back and buy the second half. That's what Games Workshop, that's their business plan, more or less. So with the Space Wolves, I see a small fraction of them being done. And personally for me, I think Logan Grimnar is going to get a new model. I have heard in the whispers of the warp that Logan Grimnar is going to get a new model. I don't know how true that is. I kind of want to believe it. Now, I've always liked Logan Grimnar. I think he's a fantastic character in the lore. But the sled, like, I've always been 50-50 of the sled. Like, I like his pose, but it just seems laughable to me that he's just on a floating sled. It's kind of like a Father Christmas, like Space Wolves style. Like sometimes they go a bit too far, I think. I just want a badass Logan Grimnar, like in the midst of battle, just ripping Xenos or enemies apart, like actually on the ground, not riding on his Christmas sled. And he's in Terminator armor, which I think could be a big thing as well, because I think Nidge Stormcaller, oh sorry, I just hit my microphone, Nigel Stormcaller, as I like to call him, I think he could be redone. Characters like Jack Rockfist, maybe he could be done, because we know now there's a new scale of Terminator armor, and some of these big characters in the Space Wolves all-way Terminator armor. Look at Belial with the Dark Angels. He had a new Terminator model done, so maybe they can start doing that for some of their Terminator models as well. Maybe they'll do maybe new Wolfen or something like that. There's definitely going to be a new Space Wolf upgrade kit that will go in vehicles and models themselves. Are they going to have a special unit? When you look at the Dark Angels and the Blood Angels, the Blood Angels had the Sanguinary Regard. That was their special unit. And of course, the Dark Angels, they had the Deathwing as their special unit. So what special unit could be for the Space Wolves, right? You tell me, Space Wolf players, what would you like? Is it going to be like the Thunderwolf Cavalry? Is it going to be like the Wolf Guard? Maybe Wolf Guard and Logan Grimnar? That could be like a nice little box set pairing, right? You know, cool looking Space Wolf Terminator models, and then you have like Logan Grimnar to go on top of it. Or like I said, it could be the Thunderwolf Cavalry, it could be the Wolfen. There's so many options, there's so many roads to go down at this moment in time. I still think we're a little bit far out to really start going down the rumor road. I've initially started to hear things about Space Wolves now, but nothing to 100% start building foundations on, because last thing I want to do is get people excited for something that is potentially not gonna happen. And quickly, just to end the video, I want to briefly go over the announcement they've just put out. I was literally about to ready to render this video, and then this Nova announcement got announced, so instead of making 2 videos, I'd rather just do 1 video. And we have the full, more or less, what we're going to see. So new models, it seems, is just going to be for AOS and Blood Bowl, and we're going to get full roadmaps for 40k, Age of Sigmar, Horus Heresy, and the Old World. But it does say down here, right at the bottom, if I can see it, we've got new roadmaps for Warhammer 40,000, Age of Sigmar, Warhammer the Horus Heresy, Warhammer the Old World. Each one will shed some light on what's coming later this year and beyond, and they may have a few teases for you along the way. So it sounds like there's going to be maybe a few models teased and roadmaps. Like, Games Workshop really loves muddying the water. They literally want to confuse you at every corner. But I'll be doing my video about this either tomorrow or Wednesday, where I'll do my theory and, you know, what I hope to see, more or less now what I hope to see predicted on these roadmaps and stuff. But yeah, I think it's going to be a fun time. I think it's going to be a great time. We need a lot more for the Horus Heresy. We need a lot more for 40k, and we need a lot more for Old World as well. So yeah, I can't wait for the show. I can't wait to see these roadmaps, and hopefully we get things announced that we're all going to love and we're all going to cherish and buy and paint and throw at each other on the tabletop. But yeah, I'll do a full video about that tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. But on that note, thank you for coming. Thank you for watching. If you've got any thoughts, feedback, anything like that, post it down below, and I'll do my best to try and answer you chaps back. And yeah, we can jump in on a nice little chin wag down there, as we always do. See ya. Have a great day. Have a great night. Have a great evening where you are in the world. And bye-bye.